I want to say a massive thank you for our sponsor for the PACT Mantality podcast, Forever Fit. Forever Fit is a new online platform for women which provides us with our very own toolbox that is going to bring training programs, personal training regimes, diet plans, recipe books, yoga classes and meditation. There'll also be regular guest speakers bringing a lot of different expertise into the programme. So yeah, thank you so much, Forever Fit. You can find Forever Fit on Instagram and online, and all the details will be added onto a link. Thank you.
Welcome back to the PACT Mantality podcast, episode 12 with me, Paul Garrigan. Today, I've got a very good friend of mine on who's doing some amazing things in the city in the physical and mental well-being industry. It is Tom, Apex Simpson. Tom, how are we, mate?
I'm all good, Paul. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, mate, I'm made up to finally get you on. It was meant to happen a couple of weeks ago, weren't it?
Yeah.
And it was our fault, mate. It didn't happen, but I've been waiting for a while to get you on. And at the time, just before we asked you to come on, mate, ended up coming into a week, and it just sort of happened, didn't it?
Yeah. Quality.
So before we get into it, mate, we'll just have a little bit of a check-in. Tell me what's been happening in the past couple of weeks for you and what you've been up to.
Past couple of weeks, been really busy, to be honest. I just completed a week mountain leader training up in North Wales, and then from there flew straight to Belgium to complete a kettlebell course with an American, and then got home and I've just been getting ready for my final retreat, my Vitalize retreat, setting up for December, winter retreat for the end of the year, and just working on the business in general, to be honest, but it's been a busy few weeks.
Boss, mate, pretty full on then.
Yeah,
boss. For myself, mate, just, I was saying to Jacob before, like things just seem to be, sometimes you find yourself in that doing.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I was like that a couple of weeks ago, like getting stuck in that sort of routine of like you're constantly striving to get somewhere. And then once I noticed what I was doing, mate, I just sort of stopped doing.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm just naturally, I feel like things are just organically happening for me, mate. Like when I stop trying to force things to happen, like the phone will ring, the emails are happening, and things just seem to be like really expanding quickly with PACT, what we're doing with men and women's PACT, mate. Like there's lots of different organisations getting involved, and it's
amazing.
It's growing, mate. You know what I mean? Boss at the same time, but a little bit like, oof, this is where it's going.
That's something that I'm still trying to find balance with.
Yeah.
I think it's because obviously it is my passion. I'm putting so much time and effort into things. Last week I was run down. I couldn't get out of bed for about 4 days, I think.
Yeah.
So I was just completely at the wall. I wasn't sick. I didn't have no flu. Wasn't like,
it's like burnt out.
Just completely, just like lethargic, no energy.
Yeah.
And I think that was just obviously what I'm saying there. The couple of weeks, I've just been relentless back to back. Literally, as soon as I've gone home, flying there, coming back, straight back and work and stuff like that. So I'm definitely trying to find the balance with it.
Yeah.
With what you're saying. But at the same time, I do understand that it's all about enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
Enjoying the process.
That's it, mate.
Which you do. But just a bit full on with it.
You can do a bit too much, mate. And like, it's like you spin too many plates sometimes, you know what I mean? And then your body just lets you know, like, gives you a little kick in the fucking balls, you know what I mean?
Honestly,
to say chill out, mate. So, I'm fully with you on that one, brother. So, like this is, it's a predominantly men, male podcast, mate, focusing on like mental health, well-being, trauma, different things like that. Over the past couple of podcasts, we've had Carly on and we've had a couple of women come on board, mate, on the podcast, and it's been amazing. So you're the first man back on, mate.
That's good.
Yeah. So it can get, mate, I like to take things pretty deep. With people, I like to go back to like your childhood, and then we'll work our way through your life, if you like. Just talking about different stories of things that have happened, mate, and how you've got to the point where you're at right now with the success you're having with Apex.
Yeah.
Really. So starting from like your earliest childhood memories, Tom.
My earliest childhood memories.
Like how was family life? Where are you from?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My earliest childhood memories are probably going camping and fishing with my dad. Yeah, my dad always had me out when I was little. Still, like probably my earliest memories of like, I remember because you've got to get up early going fishing, haven't you?
Yeah.
It's a big thing getting up early when you're so young. Must have been like, when did I first go fishing? Maybe like 5 or 6. So they're like probably my earliest memories getting up with my dad. I think that's obviously, because I'm big into the outdoors now, aren't I? So I think that plants the seed as a kid.
Yeah, it was in you from a young age.
Yeah, going camping, fishing, you know, like the little adventures and stuff like that. I love an adventure, to be honest. So like, they're probably my earliest memories that I can think of then.
And where are you from, Tom?
I'm from West Derby.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. From West Derby. I've lived there my whole life, to be honest. I was blessed though, because I've had Croxteth Park on my doorstep. And like I grew up in Crocky Park. It's where like I remember going for bike rides with my dad and like as a child, but then like the older I got as well, I literally grew up and like for anyone who's explored Crocky Park, it's massive, isn't it? It's like blessed to have that on your doorstep. It's huge. Yeah.
So how was your family life and that then, Tom, when you were growing up?
My family life was I honestly, like, I couldn't have asked for a better mum and dad and two sisters. Yeah, we're all like really close in the family. Yeah. So growing up, I couldn't have been more blessed. Yeah, I always look at that and like I definitely try and show a lot of gratitude for that when you obviously hear about people's circumstances and situations and stuff, and you know, even ill health. As well, like I never really had that. Yeah, I was really lucky.
Yeah, you were lucky, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What about school and that then? Some like primary school, how was that for you growing up? You know, before you went into high school, what were them years like?
School, so I was like, I always struggled with my confidence, to be honest. Yeah. I always struggled with my confidence because I was always little in school, do you know what I mean? So I always struggled with my confidence, and this is where like, I think I was 7 when I started jiu-jitsu. I remember going to jiu-jitsu. It was in Dovey, funny enough. I went to this jiu-jitsu in Dovecot, and like everyone was got paired up and I just sort of got left out to the side. And like I remember like getting a bit upset, and my dad was like, my mum took me away, and my dad was like, we go somewhere else. I remember being really upset, so went to another jiu-jitsu place. And that's where like probably I really found my routine with training and like started to like instill like the combat side of me. And then he ended up getting me black belt when I was like 10, 11. Yeah. So that was like me start of like almost like me sporting career. Yeah. But school.
What school did you go to?
I went to St. Paul's. And then to Carlinen,
Yeah. Carlinen, it's like all the footy players went there, weren't they?
Carlinen was a big eye opener for me though, because St. Paul's was like pretty like a nice alright school. And I went to Carlinen, it was just like the Wild West.
Yeah,
it was like the Wild West. Obviously we had kids from, you know, all different areas.
Yeah.
And it's a big shock when you first go to like big school. It's a big shock, isn't it?
Yeah. What was that transition like for you, mate?
Again, I was only like in year 7. Probably didn't really find my feet up until like a little bit into senior school. And like the only reason I found my feet and got my confidence was through boxing. Boxing was the only reason. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's similar to me, mate. I feel like when you went from like primary school to high school, it was like I didn't play that much footy before high school, you know what I mean? So all the lads that went into year 7, like loads of them knew each other. You know what I mean? I probably suffered a little bit, mate, then with my confidence, but then as soon as like, I think around like year 9, 10, mate, you started boxing.
Yeah.
That's when I started boxing, you know what I mean? Like the confidence came and that you had the ability to like look after yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was one particular moment that there was a bully in school, like a lad who was a bit of a bully, and I remember like, you know, I took no more shit off him, and it was a big turning moment in my life, and I just thought, that's it. Taking no more shit, no more. Yeah.
What did you do? Give him one.
Give him one, yeah. But it was a big lesson in my life.
Mate,
it was a big lesson in my life for me. But I played footy.
Yeah.
I played footy. There was no twinkle in my toes, know what I mean? I was fit. I could run with the ball and up and down the line and stuff, but like it was never my forte. As soon as I started boxing, honestly, I just completely fell in love with the sport. Like I just committed myself 100% from more or less as soon as I started. It was just like, it was always like a little challenge with me when I first started boxing, because I finished jiu-jitsu, and to be honest, when I finished jiu-jitsu, I wasn't a fan of it. I couldn't wait to finish. Didn't really like it. Didn't like the whole, it just wasn't for me. And then I started boxing. Me uncle took me to the gym. with my cousin, because he'd box. He's the one who got me into the boxing scene. You need to go boxing. So I went to Stocky when I was like 10, 11, started. And it was just always little things. It was like, first thing was learning how to skip. Because I remember watching like the older lads, the juniors and seniors skip, and I remember being amazed, thinking like, their feet are only lifting like, you know, a couple of centimetres off the floor, like just in all of them. Yeah. So then that was the first thing that like started going home, skipping in the kitchen. And then it just become like this routine. I was just coming home from the gym, coming home from school, going to the gym, and straight home and just training either in the garden, skipping, training, running. I just become like completely obsessed with the sport. Yeah.
Who did you box for then, mate? But did you just stay at Stocky, did you? Or?
I stayed at Stocky, which had a boss career for Stocky. A really good career for Stockbridge, yeah. And then I went to Knowsley Vale. I went to Knowsley Vale from there, and then from the Vale I went to in the military. I boxed the RAF, had a few for the RAF. Yeah. So that was like sort of my amateur career transition, yeah. And
how did you find them, mate? Obviously going into a boxing gym, like for the first time and stuff like that, because I remember going in.
Yeah.
And like the coach in our gyms, it's like old school, you know what I mean? Like as soon as you go in, you're getting tested, and like it'll be you.
Yeah.
I'm sort of like, you know, I'm sort of like put on the back foot straight away just to see your character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was that like?
I think it's more so when you start sparring a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, when you first start sparring, and like, I think now because I can see kids in the gyms and stuff like that, you can see who wants to be there and who doesn't, don't you? And it's when you start getting smacked, you can see who definitely wants to be there and who doesn't. But I remember a spar, right? It was my first ever pasting. First pasting, I got a gym come down, not too sure where they were from, this gym come down, like outside gym. And like everyone was sparring, gloved up head guards on, you know, it was like the butterflies, it's like, go on, jump in. And this lad gave it to me, proper, like full on gave it to me. And I remember jumping up the ring and being like, my God, just being given it to me. And my cousin who started with it was like, I want to spar him, because he was fuming because he gave it to me. So my cousin jumped in, same thing, he got battered. So the pair of us just standing by the ring like that, you know, black and blue, thinking, giving him this sparring him again. But that was like my first. You never forget your first pasting, do you? That was my first one,
we get humble, mate, don't we? I remember I had a fight, it was in the NABCs, it was. And I boxed my way through, so got through Merseyside and then the Northwest, and then I got to like the Northern final and boxed a lad in Hull. I think it was called St. Michael. It might have been called St. Paul's or St. Michael's.
St. Paul's, boxed there.
In Hull, like a little club.
Luke Campbell's gym.
Yeah, Luke Campbell's gym. He was on the show,
boxed in there,
And he was smoking in there and all that. You know, that's what it was like still then, like when I boxed, mate. And then I seen the lad in the corner, and my coach was like, just blow kisses at him, wind him up, you know what I mean? So I blew kisses at him and wound him up, mate. I swear to God, I got my fucking ass handed to me.
Really,
It ended up with my eye was like that. Didn't get stopped though, not on me, but my eye was like that. My mouth was bleeding, you know what I mean? Toughest fight I've ever had, mate. I learned so much. Because that was such a tough fight. But I've sort of took the lessons from that fight with me in life. You know what I mean? That I learned so much more. Sometimes when things get tough, you learn a lot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of value when things are tough.
My equivalent to that was I boxed a lad. I boxed him twice actually, called Sam Bone. He's flying as a pro now, doing really well. And he's my first loss. And I jumped in the ring, and I come off a few good fights, a few like stoppages and stuff like that. And I hadn't been beat yet. And he was standing over to the side of the ring, and we were looking at each other, and we had this big crazy stare down. I'm looking at him thinking, and like he beat me, he gave it to me. Do you know what I mean? It's my first big defeat, and ever since then, I never ever got involved in staying with anyone. Just thought that it's just a waste of time. I know like people get psyched up with it. So it become this thing. I'd get in the ring and I'd just turn me back. I'd be back to them, they'd say my name, I'd say, put my hand up, and then I'd just turn me back again. Never got involved in all that again. Learnt me lesson.
You got to humble them, mate, don't you, in the boxing ring? Like,
which is needed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely needed, mate, because we do get ahead of ourselves sometimes because you've had a few good wins.
Yeah, definitely, But what a sport. What a sport,
mate. I think it's sort of like, definitely like made me. 100%. I think, mate, what I do now made me resilient to life, disciplined, you know what I mean, respectful. In that way, mate. And I feel like, mate, when you go into like a boxing gym, well, this is something we'll talk about now, mate, it's sort of like having the benefit of having men around you, but role models as well. Because I always thought like having a coach around me that had models in a way that maybe I wasn't getting in certain other areas of my life. Not that you weren't, you know what I mean, but certainly for me, maybe I wasn't getting that. And that gave me some guidance You know what I mean? So I feel like the value for men to have male role models around them, being in that environment, mate, fighting. You know what I mean? There's such like a closeness made in the gym, isn't it? You make like some of the best mates you'll ever make for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it's a different type of bond.
Yeah.
Because like, I've had it in the majority. I've been like blessed in the gyms that I've been in, that the lads that have been there, be like, they're like your brothers.
Yeah.
You're going through thick and thin with each other. You're sparring each other, you're knocking lumps out of each other, you're dieting, you're traveling, you're doing, you end up hanging around with them as well, because like, you're all on the same page, and more so the older I got, you're not going out and stuff like that, but like, it's a different type of bond, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to like, let's see, knock bells out to your friend, and then as soon as the bell goes, go bring touch gloves and like, be in the showers together talking and the changes, like it's a different type of bond, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is, mate. Yeah. I think, was there anyone for you then, Tom, growing up, that was like a role model for you, that you aspired to be like, or you looked up to, could be someone in your family, or was it more like lads in the gym, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was always my uncle who got me into boxing, because he had a good record, and there was this little paper clip of him that's in our house, and the title was Quicksilver Simpson.
Yeah.
And his YouTube video used to be on YouTube. He boxed in Henry, what's the old boxer's name? Henry, he's a heavyweight.
Cooper.
Henry Cooper's golden belt.
Yeah.
There's a clip of him on that, and like it was always sort of like, he had about 30 odd fights, Gary. So it was always sort of aspiring to like, have that amount of fights, and when you first start, and like, just more so like role models. I think when I got into the sport was like, I used to love Ricky Yan.
Yeah.
I used to love Ricky Yan. Yeah. And I used to love like the old boxers, Nigel Benn. Used to love a little bit of Prince Naz as well.
Prince Naz, yeah. Prince Naz, shadow box in the living room to Naz.
He was great, Naz, yeah. But in terms of role models, it was more so like, I think definitely like closer home was my uncle when I first started, because of the amount of fights he had. And when you first started, if someone said, he's had 30 odd fights, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, mate, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had like, you've had solid male role models around you, mate, you feel, in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Because even on like the weekends, he'd pick me up and we'd be running around Crocky Park, he'd have the pads on, and then like, he used to laugh and say me and my cousin would be like 2 yard dogs in the garden, knocking bells out of each other.
Yeah.
Because we'd go for a run and come back in the garden, we'd be sparring, do you know what I mean? So like, I've definitely been very fortunate in that case. And to be fair, my dad never boxed.
Yeah.
Everyone always thinks my dad like come from a boxing background. My dad never boxed, so like, my dad just left me to it. My dad never once had to say to me, go on, get your shoes on, you go in the gym. Yeah. It was always like, so my dad was just, he'd drop me off, he'd take me everywhere, he travelled all around the country, taking everyone. He was just supportive in that way, do you know what I mean? So I was lucky in that sense as well.
Yeah, and I bet you that's nice, mate. You know what I mean? Like my dad, at the same time, he was similar, mate. He just let me box, but he didn't have a clue. He got told to shut up once, you know what I mean? Shouting while I was in the ring. He's like, hit him low, lad.
Yeah.
Made absolutely no sense what he's asking you to do, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, he left me to it. And I found like, mate, like the more, even with my own kids, sometimes like certainly with the footy, mate, if I'm getting on my lad who's a bit older, like when I've got on his back in the past, it just had the reverse effect on our relationship as a father and son.
Definitely.
And then my other lad now, he's 10, he's had his first skills, I think last month or something like that, but he's like bang into the boxing more than the footy.
Yeah.
Does it, shadow boxing, he's skipping all the time in the living room, like you said, he's shadow boxing in the kitchen.
Lovely.
It's boss to see, mate, you know what I mean? But I leave him. I can sort of like try and even take a step back. I don't go in the gym coaching or nothing anymore, because I want it to be his thing. Yeah. Without me having to put any pressure on him. Definitely, yeah. Because I've boxed, his mum's boxed, his brother who's 15's boxed, and then it's in boxing, he's going to be the last. So hopefully, mate, he'll be the one, because he's seen all of us, you know what I mean? The prodigy. Yeah. But I think that's important, because again, like, you can't really, I mean, now looking back, I could name the kids whose dads wanted them there more than they wanted to be there themselves. And like you said, once you start sparring, fighting, and you're actually coming into competition and like you're getting it, they don't want to be there. And you can't, it's you know, it is the sweet science, but it's a brutal sport. Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. I mean, like, and you've got to want to be in there. When you, like my first fight, mate, it was over the water in Williston. Yeah. And like, sort of took last minute, and I don't feel like nothing can prepare you for that first fight, because the lad, when you get in there, mate, it wants to kill you.
Yeah.
Like you sort of, like I was taken aback a bit, you know, of how much someone actually wants to hurt you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's quite like, oof, you know what I mean? And you'd either fight or flight in there, isn't it, mate?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Sink or swim sort of mentality, isn't it?
The biggest moments I can feel from that, fast forward in a few years, when I was in the military.
Yeah.
It was before the ABAs, and we were going around different parts of the country, sparring different gyms, and we were in London. We were going around a few gyms in London, and I went to the gym called Islington.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I boxed a lad from there as well. My first fight back since the operation with my shoulder, and I beat him. And we were a bit late, we couldn't find the gym. We walked in the gym and everyone was all gloved up, ready. They'd already started sparring. And we walked in a bit late, a bit flushed, and he was like, yeah, get your stuff on, jump in the ring. And all the lads were like, standing on the ring, on the ropes, all waiting for us. So they went, yeah, jump in. So we've jumped in straight away, hardly warmed up. People coming out, trying to hit, yeah, time. Yeah, next one, jump in. Someone else jumping in fresh. And like, it was like something off a Rocky film. Yeah. Honestly, people like that feeling you're saying, people trying to hit you. Yeah. And people are getting in fresh each round, and you're just like, off, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God. Yeah.
Boss, mate. Yeah. Some boss memories, made from the boxing.
Definitely, yeah.
So, you're in Cardinal here, mate, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, so you're leaving school at this point then. You went through school, it was pretty, like you've had obviously a big eye-opener going into high school. How was your years through high school, mate? And then what was it like leaving?
Going through high school, again, been harping on about boxing here, but I always just thought I was just put on the planet to box. Yeah. So I was just going through school, doing what I had to do to just get through school. I wasn't like, I remember like teachers saying on parents even, you know, if you put his mind to it, blah, blah, and it didn't interest me. I was like thinking, yeah, not bothered, not going to need, you know, school. I just thought I was always going to be a professional boxer. Yeah. So like, comes to the end, school was fine, school was sound. Yeah. School was good.
Enjoyed school.
I had some good years in school, yeah. Like, but then I fell out with like all these lads who I was hanging around with, and like I think that's where like just keep going on about boxing, but it did definitely shape my life. Fell out with everyone who I was hanging around with, and it's just where I completely committed myself to the sport. Then towards the end. And then it come towards like the end of school, and I went to sixth form. So carry on boxing, so I didn't have to get a job. Everyone's like, yeah, getting trades, this, that, and I was just like, that's not for me. Yeah. So I went to sixth form. And then from there, I got a full sporting scholarship. I was the first person from Carolina to ever get a full sporting scholarship in John Moores University. And I went to uni, and it just, nothing in sixth form could have prepared me for university.
Really, yeah?
Yeah. Went there, was literally getting all access to the whole sporting side of things. I had like one of the coaches out there doing my strength and conditioning and stuff like that. Was getting DEXA scans every couple of months. I was literally going to uni and going to the gym and not going to any classes. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever then, so when you've left school, if you like, certainly like a lot of Scouse lads, if you like, we fall into the trap of like going out. You know, you're going out, you're partying, you're drinking, you're womanising, and you know, it's like a typical normal Scouse lad, you would say, on the tin. That's what most of us end up falling into, that way of living, if you like. Did you ever have any times like that where you may be having them times, or you're getting up to no good, you can't find yourself in any bother, or was everything always like, you know, you were always straight-headed?
To be fair, I think that's where like my life started to take a little bit of a turn. So I dropped out of uni last year, so through all the scholarship and everything away. I had no job for a little bit. Just didn't know what I wanted to do. Turn back to boxing, to be honest, because that's what was just that was what was in me, what I knew. Done well. Got like the senior semi-finals. Had a boss season, to be honest. And then just started to pick up a little bit of an injury. Missed out another season, and then started to get into just going out as you do, going down wrong roads, probably hanging around with like, I don't know, just doing the wrong things. Yeah. Just being like your typical Scouse lad. Just like, because I feel like that's just what you can, I don't know, not that you're conditioned to do, but that's just sort of what everybody thinks the norm. Yeah. You know, you go out all the time and you do X, Y, Z. That's just what you do. You know, you want to earn money. It's just, So, my dad started to get on my case then. And to be honest, and I've said this to him, like when I did join the military, because I did suffer a little bit in the military, I resented him for a little bit, because he sort of pushed me towards going into the military, because I was just lost. People see me the way I am now, but like when I was like me early 20s, I was just lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't know what I wanted to turn pro, didn't know what to go out with this, that. I had completely no direction with my life whatsoever. So yeah, from there, joined the military and just got moved around the country a little bit, then ended up based in London. And I think that time away from home and like put a lot of time on myself, just made me like straighten me out.
Yeah.
And made me realise what I love and what's important to me and what I want to do in my life and where I want to go.
Yeah.
So even though like the couple of years were tough in the military, I wouldn't change none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a big jump, mate, isn't it, to leave home and then go into the military. And I think you find, mate, so many young men around that age, between like maybe 16 and 24, who are lost, who are disillusioned, they don't feel like they've got a purpose, they don't really know where they fit in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's too easy, like you said, and you know, certainly what's happened with me is you'd end up going down the wrong path because that's the social norm.
Yeah.
This is what you're meant to do. But there's no sort of like pathway to get young lads into the right things, you know what I mean? It's the same, something I say, mate, a lot of the time, is we're doing the same things now that we were doing 20, 30 years ago, and nothing's really changing. Like, we're doing the same initiatives, got the same things going on, the council stuff, the government stuff, the funded stuff, and it's going into similar initiatives that have already been tried, tested, and they're not working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Certainly because I feel like you've only got to look at like gang violence, mate, that's happening in this city with knife crime and gun crime, male suicides, unemployment, male unemployment. You know, it's like 60,000 young men, I think, unemployed in this city, mate, between the ages of 16 and 24. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where is the pathway for them to be able to find their purpose, if you like, you know, to have some sense of direction? Because no wonder a lot of these kids are going out getting up to stuff because they've got no sense of direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not given to them maybe sometimes, and they're coming from disadvantaged upbringings and stuff like that.
Definitely, yeah. Like, there's a few factors there, isn't there? Obviously, home life's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like the environment that you're, and the people who you're surrounded with.
Yeah.
I think if obviously, it's that saying, isn't it? If you hang around with 6 skid marks, you'll be the seventh, and it's definitely true. And obviously, like, if you know, frequencies and energy sort of you're attract, don't you? And if you've got not much going on with your life, then you're not sort of attracting them same sort of people, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
But yeah, I completely agree. There is definitely no sort of like clear pathway or, you know, thing for people to follow.
Yeah, I feel like we like, even like people suffering with mental health, Tom, we sort of point the finger at the person. But, you know, if we've got a flower growing, mate, and we're not creating the conditions for that flower to flourish, why are we pointing the finger at the flower, which is the person? To say it's your fault, you've got mental health, you need to fix yourself.
Yeah.
But it's like, how are we creating that environment for people to flourish? Like, so for if young people are struggling, we're not creating an environment for them to flourish.
Yeah.
That's my perception of it, mate, you know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Certainly with a lot of the work I do, mate, that's what I see. It's like, how can we create that sort of environment? So the likes of when you wouldn't change anything, and neither would I, by the way, mate, of stuff that's gone on in my life, I wouldn't change it. I had to go through what I went through to teach me.
Definitely.
The lessons I need to learn to be able to deliver the work I do.
Yeah.
Like, I had to go through them times, you know, there's an element that I had to.
Yeah.
Just had to go through it, mate. And how can we sort of like implement change?
Yeah.
That's what I'd be saying, mate. But I feel like you are, you know, and what you're doing, mate, and what we're doing. I do feel like there are initiatives growing and happening in the city, mate, that will eventually start to pay back.
Obviously, like, I feel like a big part of development is you definitely have got to look hard at yourself.
Yeah.
And like you're saying there, everything that's happened in my past, good and bad, like I'm completely content with and I'm happy with, because everything behind me has put me in this chair right now.
Yeah.
Exactly where I'm meant to be. And like, you can't point fingers. You can't point fingers. Like, it's taking responsibility for who you are and what you're doing with yourself.
Yeah.
And I know loads of people, it's their fault, or like, you know, quick to blame and point fingers, and like, you've got to stop.
Yeah.
You've got to stop and take responsibility for yourself and your own actions.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It starts with you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about like, obviously the environment and stuff like that. I know you're into like some of the stuff I'm into, mate, in terms of like, you know, the Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza, in terms of like how, you know, our perception, it's not just the environment, but it's our perception of the environment that creates our reality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's how do we like help empower these young men and women, if you like, to sort of like have a better perception.
Yeah.
What's going on in their life, you know what I mean? That they can actually reach anything they want to reach.
Yeah.
Like, and like your teacher said to you in school, he just doesn't put his mind to it. Like, he could do it if he put his mind to it. We can, suppose we're doing that, mate, in a way with the I Am project and stuff like that, aren't we?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's educating people as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously educating people with tools.
Yeah.
Giving people like a certain toolbox to like understand themselves and like find what makes them happy. Find what people's like are passionate about. I don't feel like schools and the systems in schools are really set up and designed for that. It's like when I was leaving school, all everyone spoke about was getting a trade.
Yeah.
And deep down, I just knew that was never for me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, everyone's getting a trade, they start breaking and whatever. And I was thinking, that's just not for me.
Yeah, you get sort of get put inside this like box. That's what you should go and do.
You've got to do that.
Like, you're a man, go and do that.
Go and do that, yeah. You've got to go and do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it's also knowing, mate, that you don't have to follow what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
You know?
It takes confidence to do that though.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're leaving school, you've got to make these big decisions at the wrong stage of your life.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you're not really going to find, it's going to be rare to find a confident 16-year-old, mind you, they are probably definitely out there who's going to say, that's what I want to do, that's my purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's mate? So let's get into like going into the military then, mate. Like, that must have been tough, by the way, because I know quite a few lads who've been in the military personally, mate, as well. And I was in like the reserve regiment, mate, for like the paras.
Yeah.
So I've done that for 2 years, you know what I mean? And that wasn't even the regulars.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, you know, brutality maybe, mate, and how hard it can actually be.
Yeah.
What was that like, mate?
Basic training was big shock, a big eye opener.
Yeah.
More so because like you go, and on the second day, I like me hair. Do you know what I mean? I like me hair. And you go there and like, I remember the woman just put the shaver on my head, went right way through the middle of my head. Yeah. And I just started, I remember like, just give me literally the worst haircut you could ever think of. Sit down, two all over, like someone with their eyes closed could have done a better job. I had bits of long hair all over my head. So I had and I've only got a little round head as well. So I had a little smart head on me. Yeah. Hair shaved off, you get given these clothes, and you get given your number, and then like you just get completely stripped of your identity. You just get given like a schedule like you've just got to follow, and you just become almost like a bit of a robot.
Yeah,
just getting through each day. You just fed like pure stodge food as well. So like it just basic training was the longest I've ever spent away from home as well, which is like another thing to take into account as well. Like, obviously, I've like mentioned before, I'm close with my family, so going away from your family for so long and just like going it be constantly, it was so much learning, being put in different environments with different people all the time, and like it was what I wasn't really comfortable with. Different people and like, you know, not knowing everybody and just having to be like, okay, this is, you know, the situation I'm in. You know, get talking, just get, you know, sort of mingling with people. But passed out from basic training and was the fittest on the flight. That's like, again, this where like my physical fitness come into it. Got a few awards from my fitness, and like that's just something that like unconsciously I've always just like been so proud of, and like really took pride in is being the fittest wherever it been. So I was the fittest on the flight of like 70 people, and like put up literally 100% into every single thing. And when I went on to my phase 2 training, which was my fire training, again, I won like the fittest award on that. Yeah. But then from there, when I moved to like my actual station in London, that's where like things started to go down a little bit. I come off a motorbike, and I was literally in the base for 2 months, and I snapped the ACJ ligament in my shoulder, and I got took off crew and downgraded. And just there's a pathway in place now from the military because of like the service that I got, like the what's the word here, like I don't know, I just got like totally mistreated.
Yeah.
So there's an actual pathway in place now, a system in place because of me. Because of, like, they called, like, the cheese effect or something, where I just fell through every single loophole, and just, like, it was terrible, to be honest. So I was downgraded for like 18 months, and it's where, like, I really started to struggle with me mental health massively. I was going to work, I was getting given all, like, shit jobs in work, and I was going back to my room, which I describe as like a prison cell. Little tiny room, little ensuite in there, not much in there. And it was just like waiting for each day to come by, back in the room, work, back in the room, and just like couldn't train. Which then I realised, like, I've always trained my whole life religiously, which was a big factor for me. And I just started to deteriorate massively. Started having my first panic attack. I was coming home on a train, and I just felt like the whole train was closing in on me. And I went into the toilet and started splashing water on my face, and I was like, what's going on? Like, looking at myself in the mirror, having a word, like, you're good, like, relax. And then I got home, my dad picked me up in the car and was like, how have you been? I was like, sad. I just didn't understand it at the time. Didn't understand what was going on at the time. I'd, like, twitch in my eye. It was just, like, permanently, just, like, proper suffering. Yeah. Fast forward a couple of years, it didn't get much better, to be honest. Decided I was going to leave and pursue my professional boxing career, because, again, that's all I knew. I knew the military wasn't making me happy. Left the military and turned pro with no limits.
Yeah.
And give it 100%. Genuinely give it 100%. And the week before, but coming off, like, the back of the military, still wasn't really in the best mindset. Had a lot going on. But definitely give the camp 100%. Give it 110%, because I knew I had to. I just left a secure career. I had to give the professional boxing career 100%. And then in my last spar, funny enough, it was the last round. I was sparring a lad up in Manchester. I already got a bit of a bad elbow. Don't like to say it. But then my other elbow went in the spar. I remember sitting in the car, I couldn't fully extend my left arm. I couldn't really use my right arm the week before my debut, and I was just like, just knew in my heart, I was like, this is just not for me no more. Wasn't for me. Just wasn't for me. So I was in a bit of a, like, predicament. Left the RAF, left the career to turned over, and knew my heart wasn't in it no more. And I was just like, to be honest, and I remember, like, I was doing PTing on the side, just obviously to fund the funds for the professional boxing career. And, like, I remember being in the gym, and it must have been about 4 weeks. I was just vacant. I was just standing in the gym with people. I remember there was that much on my mind. I was just wasn't there. I just wasn't even present. So yeah, and then started the 3% with Scannell. With Scannell, yeah. And he started again just tapping into these little things like Joe Dispenza's, fixing me morning routine up, getting up early, give us, like, these, like, almost like 10 commandments of what to do. The affirmations, getting up early, just like these things to follow. And just out of sheer respect for Scannell, I was like, okay, doing nothing else, started getting up early in the morning, following these commandments. It was like you could tick them off each day, which ones you were doing. Wasn't the end of the world if you didn't tick them all off. And, like, from there, that's where my life just completely changed.
Started to change,
My life, I just literally started to align with my purpose.
What would you say then, Tom? Going back to, like, the RAF, and then obviously your boxing and stuff like that, what would you say was driving that sort of, like, that low point in your life? Why you felt so low, why your mental health was struggling, why you were having panic attacks, what do you feel that was down to?
I was getting, like, a bit of a hard time in work. It was a bit of a mad situation, to be honest, because, like, the loopholes I was falling through in work, they all thought I was, like, at the bollocks, basically. And, like, just saying that my shoulder was bad to stay downgraded. So I was just getting, like, just all the worst jobs, which wasn't good. I was getting, like, a bit of a hard time off like this boss in there wrote a report about me, and he'd never even had a conversation with me. And the first line of the report was, LAC Simpson brings nothing positively to the team. And I remember reading it, and, like, I was brand new there still. I remember thinking, like, this guy's never even spoke to me. Do you know what I mean? So like it just started from them. And then obviously training's always been like my medicine. And I couldn't train because of the situation my arm was in. And I think it just started to just spiral more and more out of control. I started eating back in the room, got a bit of a sweet tooth, to be honest. So that just went out the window. Just started eating, putting weight on, and just like, yeah, I just didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I
The
remember?
environment sort of affects you, doesn't it?
Every single morning I'd wake up and I'm without fail.
Yeah.
My eyes would open and I'd think, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that'd be on my mind. And obviously now you know yourself, like, if you're trying to reprogram your mind and stuff like that, like how important them, you know, last few minutes before you go to bed and when you wake up of a morning are. So like, and straight away, what was on my mind, obviously, well, I've been programming my mind. And again, like I look back on it, I think because of the mindset I was in, and because I was waking up every single day saying why I'm here, was I just attracting more bad situations to me, which I probably was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're sort of in an environment at the same time that you didn't want to be in.
Exactly.
That majorly affects us, doesn't it? When you're doing something you don't want to do,
yeah,
your body will feed back to you.
Yeah. And you tell people, yeah, you know, fireman, you go, wow. And you're like, it's just not what you think.
Yeah.
It's just a crazy admin job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
So then after your boxing then, mate, you've decided your heart win in your boxing, and then your PTing started then, yeah? And you've basically joined the 3%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and things just started to change. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I started just getting up every morning and going to the gym with my mate Dean. And I've always been into the kettlebells, been on the kettlebells for like easy 10 years now. So I just started going to the gym and just doing training with the kettlebells every morning, doing flows and stuff like that, and just posting things on Instagram up every morning. And it just started to just take off, just gain so much more traction. And then it comes to the point when I first left the military, I was just called TS Fitness on Instagram. So like once I started gaining a bit more traction, I was thinking like, okay, let's like make a brand out of this. So that's where Apex was born. Yeah. Apex was born 3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago, Apex.
3 years ago, yeah. Awesome. And I honestly feel like the mindset of, again, I had with boxing, the commitments, I had in the work and the effort I used to put in with that. I've just transferred onto work now. Yeah. And I've just completely committed myself to like bettering myself. I think a big learning curve for me was like being okay with people saying how to do things better. Yeah. Not taking offence, which I feel like some people can struggle with sometimes.
Like constructive feedback.
Constructive feedback.
Yeah, that's how I'd frame it. For me, you know what I mean? Instead of like, oh, it's criticism and people having a go, it's like, people are giving you feedback, take it on board whatever way you want, and then you can interpret it how you want. You can either 100%. Use it as fuel to make yourself better, or you can take it as a negative, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. And from there, just desire to just be better. Yeah. Just be better, honestly, and just provide like the best service I can do. Yeah. Which is like each year just getting better and better, to be honest.
Yeah. So tell us about it then, mate. Tell us like, what is Apex then?
Apex is something that I have, it's like a way of life that I've come up with from all my life experience. Yeah. Again, I just, from overtraining, where I found the yoga, from overtraining, I was stiff as a board. Honestly, I was like the rustiest man. So like, I started some yoga with Diane and just completely fell in love with yoga. Yeah. Obviously, I think people see how flexible I am now and think like I'm just always being that flexible, which was just never the case. And then like over lockdown as well, yoga was a big tool for me mentally as well. And I feel like that's why it's such an integral part of like the package that I try and provide now with people is it is mind, body and spirit. I know them words are thrown around, it's your mind, body and spirit and stuff like that, but yoga is definitely a part for me that after a good yoga lesson, I just feel like you float, you know yourself, you float out of there, don't you?
There's a saying it, mate, mind, body, spirit, but there's embodying mind, body, spirit, like in what you do. You know what I mean? And I feel like yoga definitely like brings that together, doesn't it?
Yeah. So just in terms of like injury prevention and stuff like that, that's where the yoga plays like the biggest part in. And then I've done most methods of training. I feel like I've done more. I've had a little go CrossFit and just, I've done the majority of most methods of training. I just find personally the methods that I've got now. My good mate Tommy said this: I've cut out all the fluff.
Yeah.
Cut out the fluff from me training and just focus sheerly on like kettlebells, barbells, and body weight. So there's like the strength aspect of things.
Yeah.
And then the mental side of things, this comes from the 3% because, we went to the little meeting last night ourselves, and when Mark first starts these 3% meetings, we go in a group of the lads and we'd speak with Brian. I'd walk away from him just like, wow, the information I've just learned there in like a couple of hours. So that's why this year as well, I set up seminars, been pushing seminars because the message the science says to everyone there, no matter what position you go in there, you're going to walk away with a couple of nuggets.
Yeah.
Being polite, you're going to walk away with loads of information. The last seminar we done was unbelievable. Lots of information people walk away with. It's just, again, it's just more growth. It's just getting better. This mindset of just developing on a whole. There's like, it's what Apex is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the complete package.
Yeah. It's every, like, sort of, you're covering every angle of life for people. So with people that like to work with you, Tom, is that more on like, is it like a life coaching or is it a life plan session that you put together? Is it what type of package is it you put together for people?
Yeah, good question. At the minute, I'm only offering 1-to-1 at the minute.
Okay.
But I've been working hard the past couple of months on providing, which is going to be launching New Year, a premium online coaching service, which is going to be everything I've just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's going to be mindset, obviously, the kettlebells and strength training. Going to be providing a lot of different programs, and then as well as the mobility yoga side of things, because it's just so much neglected.
Yeah.
Everybody you speak to's got some sort of little niggle or injury, and like I felt guilty of this myself. You go to the gym and you should be stretching, you should be doing your mobility, but you end up just doing sprints or whatever else. So like I feel like it's going to be a big part is going to be doing like full detailed assessments with people and just like making people move better and perform better. Because where I'm going towards now from like the injuries I've had myself is like creating a package of longevity. I want to be training till I'm like 70, 80, 90. Do you know what I mean? I want to be training well into my later life. I don't want to like hit this wall where I can't train no more because obviously I realise how much it's done for me from what I spoke about in the past where I can't train. So for me, it's developing, like you're saying, a lifestyle of training where like it's just longevity.
Yeah.
Being strong and healthy for life.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff, mate, to see what's going to happen and unfold for you, man.
Definitely, yeah.
It really is. So, if you could go back, mate, right?
Go ahead.
So when you were 18.
Yeah.
So an 18-year-old Tom, right? What advice would you give him?
Do you know what? This is funny enough, right? Like I've thought about this question myself because it's a good one. Do you know what advice I'd give to myself? Just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. I know people that go back and say, do this or change this, and like I wouldn't. Because like everything that's happened in my life again, it's just led me to the seat right here where I'm meant to be. Yeah. So like I needed to go through all everything that I've been through. Yeah. So I'll just say to myself, keep doing what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome, mate.
Yeah.
And who would be like, who do you feel has like influenced your life, mate, the most? Like, is there any specific moment that you thought that was it? And I went there and that happened. Like, that was the penny drop moment. Like, for me, mate, I was in court one time when I was 24, you know what I mean? It was that point, it was like, this is not happening. Yeah. It's not going this way, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it started to just change gradually from then.
It was probably like the years when I was in the military. Yeah. Where I was like, I remember sitting on my bed, obviously spending a lot of time on myself. I'd sit on my bed and was like, this is not for me. But in terms of like influential people, it's always been like my family. Yeah. And my dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My dad just always like just being a really like strong figure in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm blessed to have my dad in my life, yeah, honestly. So like, it's always been him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And more so the older I'm getting, the more I understand him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because when we're younger, we think our dads are just having a go at us, don't we, mate?
We still clash, we still argue and stuff like that, yeah. But yeah, definitely, yeah. But
Always
yeah,
will.
it's probably always been my dad. Yeah, he's always like, he's just always like done his best, do you know what I mean? Like being a proper, honest, decent man.
Yeah.
And like, at the end of the day, you know, materialistic things and stuff like that. But in terms of like a person, my dad's like,
Yeah, it's been really influential on your life.
Definitely, yeah.
It's lovely to hear that, mate.
Yeah.
It really is. Because probably don't hear that enough.
Yeah.
How much dads are being influential on the kids in the right way as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only right to give him a mention and speak about him. Because I love him, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, mate, yeah. That's lovely, that, mate. So what sort of advice would you have, mate, for anyone starting out in doing your type of work, or maybe thinking about setting up a business for themselves, you know what I mean? Any type of young people that are looking to get into, PTing or just being an entrepreneur, really, mate? What like pitfalls do you feel like you've come up against, and what that way you could help and advise other people?
Boss, yeah. So last year in October,
my
good friend, my client, Mike Smith, he's open media. It was October last year, and he said to me, "Come in." I always like to ask my clients what have they got planned for the day. I said, "What have you got to plan today, Mike?" And he was like, "Today we are going to like strategies and targets that we're going to be doing for next year, which was this year." And I was like, "Yeah, October." And he was like, "Yeah." He went, "This is 3 months ahead of the game." He said, "When it comes to January 1st, we've hit the ground running. We've had 3 months to prep." And that was probably one of the biggest gems I've ever took away from somebody. So like, it's November now, so it's for anyone who's inspiring to be a personal trainer. Sometimes you can look like here and like now, but like look at next year. Get things written down on a piece of paper. 2023. What do I want to achieve for 2023?
Yeah.
I want to achieve, whatever it may be, courses, maybe coaching with somebody, develop a certain skill, and just have the mindset of getting better. And once you identify these targets, then you've got 3 months to be like, okay, let's look for courses for this. Let's look for courses for that. Yeah. Let's, find out who's the best person I can go and speak to, see, develop for this. So by the time it comes to next year, you've got like a clear roadmap of how you're going to develop it as a coach or an entrepreneur, whatever your business may be. Yeah. That can work for anything.
It's actually having goals, mate, isn't it? And just taking some action with them.
Definitely, yeah.
Like some like purposeful action.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. That was just like a big thing for me. So like, anyone who's inspiring to be push on and be better, has got to have an open mind. Have an open mind. Like, I'm welcome any sort of constructive feedback. What we were saying to get better and for your own development.
Yeah. What do you think then that like the biggest challenges you face now and have faced?
Myself.
Yeah.
Myself, yeah. Definitely. Myself, and like the more momentum I'm building up over the past few years, the more confidence that's gave me. But speaking to like one of my good friends again who's just starting out on the personal training stuff, and like I was saying, like obviously it's gave me confidence through getting courses, getting certificates, getting qualifications, educating myself, doing these things, like developing myself is gave me that confidence. Do you know what I mean? Is where sometimes I can, you can doubt yourself, can't you? I think, I don't want to do this, or you can hold yourself back.
Yeah, so that's what I think, mate. Like, like personal and professional development are linked. Like people just like, professional development, I'll go and get a degree, I'll go and do this, I'll go and do that. But like they're linked together. The more you work on yourself, the more you can go and achieve when you're doing obviously your professional development at the same time. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like, we can get so much caught up sometimes, mate, in chasing like a name tag or of trying to achieve something else, but we're not working on ourselves. And when we get to that point of like maybe, you might be a teacher or a nurse or whatever, you've got a degree in, but they've never done any work on themselves, mate. They find that a lot of, like, because Carly's a nurse herself, mate, but like they're really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, they've got no ability sometimes. A lot of nurses, they're not getting like taught stuff how to like regulate themselves.
Yeah.
Only working in them sort of environments. But they're chasing this degree, but at the same time, they're chasing a degree in medicine, if you like. But they're not taught how to regulate their own physiology for things that will come up within the job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My sister works, she perfusionist, my sister, and obviously she controls like the heart and lungs for children who go into like big surgeries and stuff, and like what you're saying there, some of the stuff she tells me, it's crazy that like, but I think it's getting more accessible now.
Yeah, of course.
It's definitely getting more accessible now, but like it should definitely be part of like everyone's learning again, just giving people the tools, the toolbox. I always like to say to clients, it's like everybody's different.
Yeah.
So like what might work for me when I'm feeling like stressed or under pressure might not work for somebody else, but it's sort of identifying them things within your toolbox that make you feel better, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that like certainly mate, when you're starting off, if you're doing PT, you know, you're doing any of this type of work, like so many people, they fear being judged.
Definitely.
The fear putting themselves out there, like the fear of judgment, or the fear of putting a video or on Instagram or sitting on a podcast. I think like people, in terms of public speaking, mate, if you Google it, people would rather die than speak in public.
Yeah.
The biggest fear is public speaking above dying. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
And that's how much people are scared of actually stepping into the light and being judged.
Yeah. Like what you were saying before, like I've felt guilty of that myself. Like you're saying what's hold what were like the biggest things that I felt like it is yourself.
Yeah.
You go question yourself, can I post that, just do that and that, like definitely
getting in our own way and then doubting yourself.
Exactly, yeah.
So I usually ask mates a couple of questions at the end that are just like sort of quick fire questions. That hours flew, by the way, mate.
Belter.
So yeah, one of the questions I asked mate, okay, it's a little bit of a deep question, but I'm sure you're ready for it.
Go ahead.
What does it mean to you to be a man?
Good question, that. Be another hour.
Let me think.
What's it mean to me to be a man? To be a man is to be honest, authentic. Yeah. To be a family man. Yeah. A man. I think being a man, a big part of it is being a man of your word. Say you're gonna do something or like you're gonna stick to something, then do it, stick to it. Which I think people do struggle with.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Nice, mate. Nice answer, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well done, mate. Good answer.
Yeah, it's a good question.
It is, isn't it?
I'll be driving home and be thinking, should have said that.
If you could give people one person to follow or to watch, like podcasts, books, things like that, what would it be?
2 big books that I recommend to everybody is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Really good book. And it lays out sort of, read it? Yeah, lays out like the things, the steps and stuff like that, which are good.
Yeah.
Which I think help identify obviously what you want out of life. Which people don't know, do they? People just like, and then another good book and another person to listen to and I recommend people listening to is Never Got Hard. Feeling's the Secret.
Yeah.
I know Mark got Jacob bit over there, but like it's only a short read, but like the power within them, like 40 odd pages, it's a mega book, and I listen to him quite a lot on YouTube.
Yeah.
So definitely Never Got Hard is definitely worth a listen and to tune into.
What about podcasts, mate?
Podcast, we've been really into lately is the Stephen Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO.
Yeah.
And I've got to the point where like I feel like I've listened to all the ones I want to listen to. So I've just been like letting whatever podcast comes on next, just listening to them.
Yeah, just going with it.
But I've been really enjoying them. Like there's a lot of there's a big variety in topics there. So you always take a few gems from each podcast, don't you?
Yeah.
But in terms of podcasts, I think my love for podcast started with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same,
My real love for podcast started with Rogan. Yeah.
So, mate, just have some final words. So, if you want to just finish, mate, with something, you know, what's coming next for you, what people can expect.
What's coming next is a worldwide brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, a premium service. I'm going to be providing a premium service, online training and in person.
Yeah.
That's going to be the complete package of health, wellness. And again, just it's going to be for anyone and everyone to keep people training for life, longevity, strong, resilient bodies and minds. That's what's coming.
Amazing, mate. Tom, thank you so much, mate.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Jacob, thank you so much, brother. Nice one. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure for that, mate. Nice one. Boss, thank you.